Queenbee. Thanks, guys.
My friend had an insane obsession with a boy in our classes and would legit stalk him home. One day she was about to ask him to the Christmas dance and saw him holding hands with another girl. She was fucking furious and convinced the girl to hang out with her after school. She threw that motherfucker into a bean and pushed the bean down the stairs. Bitch went into a coma. Crazy friend went to a detention center and the whole dance was cancelled out of respect, but honestly I didn't give a fuck. I didn't wanna go anyways. LMAO.
When I was 17 I became friends with this girl from an Instagram comment section. She basically became my best friend since I have no friends in real life. LMAO, how sad. Anyways, we exchanged Snapchats and phone numbers and we video called and sent pictures and videos, so I thought she was legit. After a year of talking we decided to finally meet at a concert in secret and she made me promise not to tell any adults where I was going. I was waiting for her when this old but kinda hot guy came up to me who knew my name. I was like, bitch, who the fuck are you? I am here to meet my friend. And he named my friend and I was like, what the fuck have you done to her? And he was like, that's my niece. And I was like, oh okay, I guess she brought her uncle despite making me promise not to tell any adults. So I was like, where is she? And he was like, she's not coming. And I was like, what do you mean she's not? In 8th grade there was this male history teacher and female assistant teacher and everyone in our grade thought they were hooking up. So one day some student from their class left their phone propped up and recorded them making out like this dude was really getting into it, pinning her on the wall and everything. Also the history teacher was married to another teacher at the school and they have 2 kids together. The students posted the video and over fall break everyone saw it. Both of the teachers quit and now work at 2 different schools and the history teacher is still happily married to his wife. Zoxo Anonymous kiss mark. I added this really cute guy from my school on Snapchat my freshman year and we would only talk on Snap because we were too scared to even look at each other at school. Then came my sophomore year when we finally started talking and we hung out like 3 times. One of those 3 times we smoked some devil's grass and went to the back of his car. One thing led to another and we were making out and I swear to God it was like this guy never made out with a girl before. This bitch was so aggressive but not in the hot way. Like he was almost eating my face. And when he was taking me home and pulled in a parking lot to hold my hand and then started smelling it and I was just sitting there like WTF. Later found out he was the principal's son, which I DKY, but it was so awkward to see his dad every day at school and him. Anyways, later the guy undid me and started dating some girl from another school and good for him honestly. Zoxo Anonymous kiss mark. Girl, the principal's son smelt your hand chili. Anyways. Okay, so I've been talking to this dude for like 10 months. We'll name him Finger Ass and I really thought I was into him but he's literally a fucking piece of shit. I decided one day to invite him to my house so we can hang out. I had to ask my mom for permission and obviously tell her who he was, and I was honest enough to tell her I had a crush on him, and surprisingly enough my mom said it was okay for him to come over, which was surprising, and that we can give him a ride and pick him up at his house. The next day I end up cleaning and mopping my entire room for him and my mom cleaned the whole house and she went to go grocery shopping, and after that we were gonna pick him up, but then I was texting the bitch Finger Ass and he ended up lagging, but it turns out the stupid dumb whore was lagging. BC, he decided to go to the fucking skate park with his friends. LOL, men really aren't fucking shit. And he was like, and I quote, it's cause I wanna hang with the boys. But this isn't the first time this happened. While we were still at school before Corona, I invited him to the mall. He flaked. I invited him to my birthday party a fucking week in advance. The bitch didn't show up, but tell me why his friends ended up fucking showed up instead of him. Now that's fucking depressing, and there's many other times where this dude was a fucking piece of shit. There's just too many to count. But anyway, when he said he went with the boys instead, I wasn't really tripping over it because I guess I was used to this dumb bitch fucking canceling on me, but I was like, whatever, fuck yourself. And my best friend ended up coming over instead of him, but this is where I plotted my revenge, smiling face with horns. That same day this kid from 7th grade who literally had the fattest crush on me, but I always rejected him and was such a bitch to him, but we'll name him Extension Cord since he's a plug. Anyways, he hits me up, but let me tell you, this dude is so fine and had a huge glow up, and this motherfucker has an actual job, and I already mentioned and I already mentioned is a plug but on the side. So that night he asked if I can go over to his house for a smoke session. I said I really couldn't sneak out cause I wasn't sure if I wanted to make that risk, so he said he can just come to me and jump through my window, and I was like, I would have to hide you in my closet so my mom can't see you if she walks in, and I don't want to put you through that, are you sure? But he was totally chill with it, so I had to clean my room before he came, and I had to explain to my little sister that a boy was coming and had to literally bribe her with Robux so she wouldn't snitch, lol. But my little sister is chill, so I'm lucky as fuck. But I made a dope ass fort with my bed, and that's where me and the kid were gonna hang out, so if my mom were to walk in she wouldn't see a thing. After that extension cord finally came and jumped through my window, and we have bunk beds in my room. My sister sleeps at the top, so the windows are literally right next to her, but she's scared to sleep next to them, and she has this thing that goes over her head and covers her while she's sleeping. So once extension cord was coming in, this bitch decides to fucking pop her head out of the bunk bed thing that covers her head, and he was like WTF, and I got so embarrassed, but he ended up not caring and still came in as he should. But then after that we went inside the fort thing I made and we were talking for a little bit, then we ended up making out and I gave him gok 3000 and he returned the favor of course, but little did I know my little sister's phone fucking died, and since she sleeps on the top she had nowhere to charge it, so she could fucking hear us the whole time and was so traumatized she was crying until he left. I felt so fucking bad and told her I would never let that happen again cause I've been in her position too, but she ended up still covering for me, so she's a real ass bitch. But a week after that I ended up dropping extension rip, and I still talk to finger ass till this day. He just doesn't know a thing. Kissing cat face. From anonymous Zoxo kiss mark. This was just a bit mad, wasn't it? One time I was at the store with my sister, and while we were getting our cart we saw a boy staring at me. I didn't really know why, but my sister was laughing and told me to go get his number, so I did. When we were leaving the store I saw him again, and once we got in the parking lot he started running after us. He had a pocket knife and was holding it up while running at us. We finally got to the car and I was screaming and I barely shut the door in time. My sister ran over his foot while driving off. Okay, wait, this is actually a scary one. One time I was at the mall with my crush and he wanted to get ice cream even though I'm lactose intolerant, but I didn't want to say anything because it was embarrassing, so I forced myself to eat the ice cream knowing full well that my stomach would not thank me later, but I was hoping it was after we left the mall. It wasn't. I was holding in a fart because we were in a store and the only noise was the background music, but then I couldn't hold it any longer and I let out a big fart and everyone stared at me including my crush. Except it wasn't just a fart. I sprinted to the bathroom with shit down my pants and spent 30 minutes in there. My crush ended up leaving me at the mall. Me and my cousin will be doing the nasty today. Grinning face with wide eyes. Grinning face with wide eyes. I know so many of you view it as illegal, but he is so sexy. Like so sexy. If you had a cousin as hot and sexy and milky as mine, you would wanna sit on his face too. We had phone sex last week. It was amazing. I came twice. He has a long swirly milky stick. I want to give him the best gok he has ever received in his life. Face with heart-shaped eyes. Face with heart-shaped eyes. My 3 friends and I were in 11th grade. We were known as the pranksters in our school. One day we were about to go to lunch and my friends had dared me to pull the fire alarm. I was up for the challenge and risk. When everyone was getting their lunch and sitting with their friends, I decided it would be good if I did it when a teacher wasn't looking. So, luckily for me, a kid was wandering outside the school and a teacher went to go get them. That was my time. I rushed over to the fire alarm and pulled it. Since we had sprinklers, everyone got wet and we all rushed outside. People were calling the fire department and some people were calling their parents. It was really chaotic, but my friends and I had a good laugh about it. After 30 minutes the teachers came outside and told us that there was no fire and someone was going to be in big trouble. They also said if no one came forward they would cancel homecoming. I stayed quiet because it wasn't like I had a date or anything. The nice girl stepped forward and said she did it. Everyone got mad at her, but at least homecoming was still. One time when I was 17, me and my bestie went to Germany with my family to visit my relatives and we were staying at my aunt's place. She had 2 older sons in their early 20s, but they weren't there when we arrived because it was late and I thought they were sleeping or something. My aunt made us a bed on the couch, but it was still early, like 10 p.m., so we asked if we can go to McDonald's that was open 24/7, and they agreed because it was just 5 minutes away. We got dressed and went to a bar that was near my aunt's house, and we got hella drunk. There was a really cute guy there with his friends, and we ended up doing it in the bushes, smirking cat face. Then me and my bestie went back to my aunt's place. The next morning when we woke up, I went to the bathroom to take a shower, and there was the guy I had S3X with, and it was my cousin, grinning face with wide eyes. Grinning face with normal eyes. Let me remind you that I didn't see my cousins in like 8 years, so I forgot what they looked like, haha. Well, me and my cousin then did it again in the bathroom, monkey covering eyes. We stayed at their place for 10 days, and we were usually F-king all nights, and nobody suspected a thing. Grinning face with tightly closed eyes. So one time I got really mad at my mom, and she grounded me, and I was mad as fuck, and then her bitch ass told me to do the laundry after beating me like bruh fuck no, and then she yelled at me and extended my grounding, so I got her bras and peed in them and let them dry and then put them away in her closet just out of.
In 4th grade my coochie stunk so bad. I didn't wipe down there, I don't know why, but I didn't. One time I was sitting in class and I smelled the smell of my stinky ass coochie and thought it smelled good. So I opened my legs up a bit more, and my crush was sitting behind me, and he asked, "What's that smell?" and no one said anything. Luke and Alan, I'm sorry you had to smell my stinky ass coochie.
In 5th grade I found out my best friend has been texting my crush every night and sending him hearts, even though she well knew he was my crush, so of course I had to set that bitch straight. That night I made brownies and I mixed my poop in the batter, and then I brought them to school the next day, and I gave one to that backstabbing whore and watched her face turn green. She threw up all over my crush's shoes and ended up being hospitalized for the next week. I didn't fucking care about that stupid bitch anymore, so that's why I dropped her and started dating her brother, hahaha, no regrets, hahaha. In 5th grade there was this weird ass boy who had a crush on me for ages and followed me around wherever I went. He always came up to me and hugged me and kept saying that I was his girlfriend, and I got really pissed and eventually decided I had enough, so I went up to him and kicked him in the balls. LOL, at the time I didn't know it hurt that much, and he was crying his ass off and rolling on the floor for a whole 10 minutes, and I didn't even know why, because I didn't kick it hard at all. He went over to the teacher and snitched on me, and whilst the whole class was silently reading, my teacher pulled me for a chat in the corner so everyone could hear. She got really mad at me and I started crying because I didn't want her to call my mom. She thought I was crying because I felt bad, but I felt good because that weird ass boy would go away now. LOL. Anyway, she called my mom and she wasn't really that angry at me about it. Chile. Anyways, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
2 years ago I was with my mom in the car going to Santa Ana because she needed to deliver something to a restaurant. She got out of the car, and at that time I didn't have a phone, so I would use my mom's phone to look at Instagram. I end up getting this text message from this boy that was my age. Keep in mind that my friend had my account because I would use her phone at school, so I look at the text and I ask, who was this boy? He just kept trying to flirt with me and sending pictures of himself. He was this musty crusty he needs to go fuck somebody boy that tried to look like those wannabe Edgars. When he asked me if I had a boyfriend, my friend was on my account and replied saying that I did, which was true. Then my friend texted me telling me to just let her deal with the boy. I told her okay. She took care of the conversation, and then she texts me 5 minutes later saying that he sent a dick pic. Then she told me there was something white coming out and asked me what was the white stuff. I told her it was cum. I told her to block the boy from my account. We ended up telling my boyfriend about the situation, and
one time in 8th grade a cute guy added me on Snap and we started talking, and it turned out he lived in my neighborhood, so one night I snuck into his house and we both said we liked each other and started making out. Then it just got rated R. His mom ran into his room crying because she found her cat dead and walked into us. You know. Anyways, we are married now and family reunions are awkward.
Okay, so this is my confession. In 6th grade there was this male teacher that nobody really liked, and he never let anybody go to the bathroom. We had another class after his, and then it was lunch, so he always used that as an excuse. It was really annoying. But since it was 6th grade, girls were getting their periods, so in class I asked to go to the bathroom and he said no. So in response I told him fine, but then he would have to clean the blood from my chair. He very angrily let me go. After that he told all the girls that having a period is a problem and we couldn't use that as an excuse. So at the end of the year, on the last day of school, every single fucking girl that had him in class all decided to collect our period blood and freshly used pads and tampons and put the blood on the chairs and the pass everywhere. We told the janitor, who everyone liked what we did, and not to clean it so the teacher would have to. He agreed and left school early that day. Lol, I heard he quit.
Once my teacher was pregnant and 2 months before her due date she went into labor in the middle of class, so we were all rushed into the hallway, but they couldn't get her out of the classroom, so she ended up having her baby in the classroom, but since it was premature it was weak and they weren't at a hospital, so it died in the classroom, and we all saw the dead tiny baby being carried out of the classroom, and my teacher was so sad her baby died that she quit her job, and a month later we went into lockdown because turns out she broke into the school with a knife and tried stabbing people cause she sorta went insane with the grief of her baby dying, and now she's in jail. Girl, what in the shitty—
One time I stayed at my boyfriend's house for the first time, and as we were laying watching a movie I really needed to shit and my stomach was making weird noises. He said, "What was that noise?" And I said I was really hungry and raced to the toilet pretending to get snacks. I was in the loo for about 15 minutes trying to push this shit out, and my boyfriend messaged asking where I was because I was in the kitchen, and I said I went for a walk. 5 more minutes passed and I couldn't get this shit out. After some more pushing I got it out, and holy shit, it was huge, biggest shit I have seen. I walked back to his room after I finished only to hear his mum yelling, "Who the fuck took a shit? It stinks." He looked at me and laughed. I was so embarrassed I ran.
Here is a very weird story. When I was 10 I went to my auntie's and I had friends there and they came over. Mind you, they are all girls, and they wanted to play spin the bottle. I said okay because I didn't think nothing of it, and then they told me after that they wanted to play 7 minutes in heaven. I said what the fuck, no I'm not playing. They called me lame and them bitches played by their self too. People went in and no one came out. Then when they all were in there for 30 minutes and no one came out, I went in there too. I remember one day before my dad dropped me off at my school, my stomach was hurting really bad. I was sure it was cramps, so I asked my dad if I could just stay home, but he said no because he and my mom were really busy. As the day went on my cramps were really bad. At the ending on the day it was my last class. When I got up from my seat I felt something wet in my underwear. I thought it was just discharge, but then the popular kids, especially the boys, were all looking at me weirdly. I noticed it was actually my period blood. They all laughed. All the girls were little pick-me type bitches, so they laughed along. I stood there about to cry until one of the cute popular boys came up to me and gave me his sweater and told his friends to stop laughing and that women don't choose to have their periods, and asked the girls why they were laughing because the same shit happens to them. After he went off on them all, he told them all to grow TF up. At the end of the day he walked me home and said he was sorry that had to happen to me. Him and I are now 2 years into a relationship and graduated together. So 2 days ago I was at my friend's house sleeping, and when we were about to sleep she covered herself in a huge blanket even though it's summer, and I heard her touching her cat face. I got scared so I pretended to be asleep. Then she started to moan but very quietly, and I stood up. She got nervous and asked me why I wasn't asleep, and I told her a mosquito woke me up. Then I asked her what she was doing and she said nothing, so I pretended like nothing happened and went to sleep. Now I'm scared because I'm going to her house for 2 to 3 days because my parents are going on a little travel. What do I do, y'all? Alright bitches, so this shit better be anonymous because the police told me I'm not allowed to tell anyone. In 7th grade I got a DM on Instagram from a random person saying they were going to shoot up my middle school. I live in Florida, so even if it was a joke I had to tell a teacher. I texted my science teacher and sent her the screenshots, and she kept texting me saying there would be dead bodies everywhere. Anyways, she called the principal and the principal called me to call the police station. We called the police and gave our statements, and I went to bed thinking it would be alright. At 2 a.m. in the fucking morning my mother starts banging on the door that a literal fucking detective is coming over. I talked to her and she was chill, but then they talked about having to possibly go through my phone to get my messages, and I acted like that was fine, but oh hell no, I did some unholy things and had pictures of it, so please keep your sticky fingers away from my phone. I don't wanna go to juve. In the 6th grade I transferred to a new school and didn't know anyone there. At orientation my teacher made me pair up with this boy. Let's call him Towel. Towel was acting super weird and nervous around me, but I didn't say anything. A few weeks into the school year Towel was always texting me and trying to call me. His friends kept telling me he liked me, but he was a gross little chicken bone, skin tone, Trump loving, hat swinging, spit drooling, mouth breather white boy. He asked me out and I said no sorry. He was super depressed after that and tried again 5 more times. Poor guy was a hardcore simp, and the final time he asked me out and I said no, he just waltzed out into the street and tried to get run over by the cars driving by the school. Fast forward to the last 2 months of the school year. I had kept my distance from him cause he was a weird little fuck that always tried to touch me in any way he could. I had math class with one of his friends and she told me that Towel was planning on kidnapping me. When I was little I used to force myself to burp on command. My mom always told me to stop, but I never listened and I thought I was so talented and amazing. Well, one day I went into school and I was having a normal day, just going around doing my burps. After lunch, towards the end of the day, I was just doing a quiz we got told to do. When I finished, I went to take it to my teacher. Me being the gross ass kid I am, I wanted to show her my burping talent. I told her I had a special talent and she asked to see it because she was just kind like that. So there I was just showing her all my burps, until the last one where I burped and I vomited all over my teacher's face. I got called to the principal's office and sent home where my mom beat my ass.
When I was in 7th grade, I was taking state testing. 1 hour into taking the test, my stomach started to hurt so bad. This is the worst stomach pain I've ever felt in my life. All of a sudden my pants filled up with the creamiest shit on God's earth. My crush at the time, who was sitting behind me, smelled it and gagged. He tapped me on the shoulder and told me he could see poop coming out of my pants. He got up and told the teacher and she escorted me out of the room while everyone watched. I had to finish my tests, so the nurse gave me a diaper and a pair of pink leggings that didn't fit. When I went back in the room, everyone could see that I was wearing a diaper because the leggings were see-through. For the rest of the year I had 7th graders making fun of me. On my birthday in 8th grade, a group of popular kids gave me a pack of diapers. I'm 17 now and still mortified. One time when I was like 10 years old, I went to my cousin's house for a Christmas party. We went in her room and she showed me her new hamster and I thought it was so cute and asked if I could hold it. She said no because she thought I was gonna drop it. So we went and ate dinner, and while we were eating dinner I snuck away and went in her room as her playing with her hamster. She had a bunk bed, so I went to the top bunk and I was playing with the hamster and petting it. Keep in mind I was on the top bunk. So I let go of the hamster for literally 5 seconds and ran right off the side of the bed. It fell off the top bunk. I'm pretty sure it died, so I just picked it up and put it back in the cage and left the room. When I got back to the table, my cousin asked me where I was and I told her I was in the bathroom.